Hey, just be real. How are you? Thank you so much. I didn't even know you could go on there and talk while we were waiting. I was charging my phone, so please forgive me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being there, just be real. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'm actually able to turn on my iPad to come on Instagram, so I'm on Instagram too. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for being here. Hey, Foxy Foul Steel. How are you? It's just okay. Hold on, let me put my glasses on so I can see what I'm reading. Is Jadasenia? Jadasenia? How are you? Thank you so much for being here. And that's hey, Dr. Anderson, Mom. I know who that is. Hey, just be real. How are you? How are you doing? Hey there. I know who K at K, Miss KK. How are you doing? Hey Christopher, how are you doing, sir? Thank you for being here. Hey, just be real. Hey Shirley, how are you doing? Hi Tanisha. Tanisha Peace. I like that. How are you doing, my Southern Belle? I miss you. I'm so glad you're here tonight. Thank you for being here. How are you doing? How's the Boeing thing going? Hey, Misha. Hey, girl. Happy holidays. Oh, I've been watching you on Facebook. Such a beautiful family. You look more peaceful. Hey, that dude. How are you? Hey, Ruth. How are you doing? Thank you for being here. Okay, the realist. I like that. Hey, the realist. I like that. How are you? Thank you so much for being here. I think my glasses might be a little foggy. Y'all forgive me if they kind of dirty, but I can see the writing. How is everyone doing? Going to bed for work in the morning. Okay. Well, thank you for stopping through here, Miss Shirley. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Hi, Regina. How are you doing? Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to let everybody come on in there before we start. And before we start, just let me say, my name is Dr. Carmen Bryant. I'm the host of Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. And if you watch TikTok, I'm also the host of Car Chronicles. Hey, Danielle. Oh, I miss you already. Hey, Queen Cha Cha. Thank you so much. I've been doing the healing work, and that's what I'm talking about. Go ahead, girl. Such a beautiful fan, such a beautiful lady. Girl, I got to let you get in my hair one day. You see me? Okay, good. But I am the host of Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. I'm also the host of Car Chronicles. If you guys like watching TikTok, I am currently on. Hey, Jonna. I am also on. Right now, I'm on YouTube, live on YouTube. I'm live on Facebook, and I'm also live on Instagram. If you are tuning in right now, it is December 1st. Hold on. It's December 1st, and here in the Great Northwest, it is 8:36. I was a little late because I was charging my phone, but it's 8:36 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you are watching, look up at the top. It should have a red marker that says live. If you are looking up at the top and it says live red, you are seeing me live as we are speaking. It is in time. If it says was live, that means the live is over. I know some of you guys like, am I being condescending? I'm not. What happens is a lot of people, when they come to the replay, they speak to me and say hello. And when I don't respond, they get upset. And so I just want to make sure that we know I'm live right now. But if you are tuning in, hey Orlando, and it is not 8:36 or 8:33. There we go. 8:33, not 36, 8:33 Pacific Standard Time, then you are watching the replay. And many of you come on and try to let me know what mark I start speaking. If you don't like the long salutations, I want you to hit the fast forward. So if you are coming in and you are watching the replay, please just hit the fast forward and then you can get straight to the message. But while we are live, I like to say hello to everybody. I haven't been able to come on the last 2 weeks because I was busy. I know I wanted to, some of you guys have been asking for my daughter, Miss Mercedes Bryant. she was going to come do a live with me, but she has been on the road traveling. Matter of fact, she's on the road right now, so I couldn't get her live. So I'm gonna try to get her live next week instead for you guys. So she'll come on live. Some of you guys have been asking when is she gonna come back. Hey Jennifer, and I'm gonna have her come back when she is home, and so hopefully she'll be able to come on live next week with me. So I was just waiting for a few people to come on. Hey Day, how are you? Oh, I like that little red hand, a little orange hand, pink hand. I like that. But thank you guys so much. Hey, Danielle Works, how are you? So thank you guys so much for tuning in. So you guys ready for the topic? The topic is, at first I had a different topic, but the thing is now, it is the unrealistic hope of living with and maintaining your mental health while with a narcissist. And you guys know, some of you guys have been with me for a long time, so you already know where I'm going with this, right? I want you to think about it for just a minute. Some of you are currently still with a narcissist and have been with a narcissist for a long period of time. And if you have been with a narcissist, thank you, Danielle. If you've been with a narcissist, whether it is a parent, because not all narcissists are romantic relationships. Some of them are parents, some of them are siblings, grandparents, and some of you have been with narcissists for a long, long, long time. And hope is the last thing to go. Hope is the very last thing to go. There's a glare in my face. Sorry, y'all. But hope is the last thing to go. And you have to remember that when you are with a narcissist, you are the best way I can say, hey, Wilson J. Love, how are you? The best thing that I can tell you guys is this. Hope is the last thing to go. And most people, what you don't realize, being under that level of stress with this individual, no matter how much you love them, is causing you to unalive from the inside out. Put it that way. You're unaliving from the inside out. You're slowly dying on the inside because there are things that are happening in your body. Hi, Ziegler, how are you? There are things that are happening in your body that you have no idea that are happening in your body. And the only way you know things are happening in your body is when your body begins to tell you things are happening in your body. Now, a lot of you, not just from one experience a few hours ago or a month ago have PTSD. PTSD does not work that way. Hey, Bishop Linda, but PTSD does not work that way. A lot of you have been in these situations and come from families where, number one, you have this learned hopelessness. And let me talk about learned hopelessness real quick. Learned hopelessness. If you guys ever read, and I'm trying to think of the person's name. I can't think of his last name, but it was a researcher that did research on dogs in a cage. And what happened was these dogs were in a cage, and he put like this electrode or something at the bottom of the cage. No, it wasn't Pavlov. That's a theory of the salivating dog. The other one is something. I can't think of his last name. I'll think of his last name and put it in the comments when I come off. But he did a research with these dogs in a cage, in his electric cage at the bottom. And what he did is he turned the electricity on at the bottom of the cage. And the first nature of the dog was to jump out of the cage to escape the pain, correct? And so when they escaped the cage because they were escaping from the pain that they were enduring. And what happened was he closed the cage up where the dogs were not able to escape from the cages. And so what happened is when the dog realized that there was no escape from the pain that they were enduring, they stopped fighting. And so he would turn on the electrodes at the bottom of the cage, and the dog stopped fighting. The dog stood there hopelessly or helplessly, and he stopped fighting. So even when he took the top of the cage off to allow the dog to escape again, the dog did not escape because there are three main factors in there. The one is, I think it's contingency. I think that's the word. Contingency, cognition, and behavior. Contingency is the process of constantly trying to escape something or get away from the pain that you're enduring, or trying to get away from something and beginning to realize that there is no escape from this. You keep trying, and eventually cognitions, your thought process, your perspective changes. Your perspective start changing where you start telling yourself, no matter how much I fight, I can never escape this pain. No matter how much I do, things don't ever change. No matter how much I try to do, I can't get away from that very thing that is hurting me. And so the behavior, you become helpless. So it's learned helpless. You become helpless where I'm not even going to try to escape. I can't even escape. So that's that learned helplessness. That's one thing, right? And a lot of that starts, for some of you, it started in childhood. You could, where is a child going to go? Hey, Dr. Arms. But, that learned helplessness, a lot of you came up in households where you were going through abuse and where a child does not have the ability to think beyond, the adult world. They can't think of getting a job. They can't think of, that higher reasoning. They can't find any place to stay. So a child becomes helpless, or they begin to think helplessly. And then as you get older, what happens is you don't realize that when you get under that type of stress, a lot of times you don't fight because your mindset is no matter what I do to try to escape this pain, I can never get away. So you kind of accept it. If the only love that I'm ever going to get is painful, then I'll just take it. That's that learned helplessness. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is a lot of you who have been in these situationships, whether it's from your parents, whether it is from your grandparents, your siblings, or a romantic relationship. Some of you are suffering from PTSD and complex PTSD. PTSD is an event. When you have been through an event and you keep going, it's like you're going through that event over and over and over again. You're reliving the event over and over again. Complex PTSD, when you compile other trauma on top of the trauma on top of the trauma on top of the trauma. You haven't even closed the door to the last trauma or heal from the last trauma before you're traumatized again, especially in domestic violence, especially in narcissist abuse, where the abuser continues to abuse and abuse and abuse and abuse. And you feel like, I cannot escape from this. There's nowhere for me to go. I don't know what to do with myself. I don't have any skills. What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to get away? It's that learned helplessness. And for some of you, but the facts are, okay, there are people, you think about, before we had what we have now, people had to create things. Your mind is brilliant. Some of you are very creative. Some of you can cook. Some of you can sew. Some of you can stitch. Some of you can, there's a lot of things that you can do that can make you money. I had a young lady that I used to coach a long, 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 long time ago. And that when I coached her, she was legitimately, she was disabled, and so was her child. But it did not disable her mind. She had a brilliant mind. Her body was just sick. And especially being with a narcissist, her body became sick. So that's him. That's him right there, that dude. That's him. Seligman. Thank you so much. It's Martin Seligman. Go look up Martin Seligman. That dude, I don't know if you're able to go over on my Facebook page, but if you can take that name and put it over on Facebook, or Just Be Real, he put the name on here. And that name that he just put, that's the researcher. If you could put it on Facebook so people can go and research him. And he did the study on the learned helplessness. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you. But listen, some of you are dealing with the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response. Now, I want you to think about it for a minute. Like I said, hope is the last thing to go. So some of you are staying in the situationship, or in these relationships, what you think is a relationship, which is not a relationship. Some of you are staying in these situationships. Hold on just a minute. Let me unplug this so I can move this back, because I got a big old pie face in this camera. Let me lean this back a little bit, so some of you guys don't have to endure me with the big pie face on here. Okay, there we go. There we go. That's better. But some of you guys are dealing with the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Let's talk about it for a minute. And you're living your life with this adrenaline pumping all the time. A lot of you have been in these situations, and some of you who have come out, I want you to think about it for a minute. A lot of you have been in these situations for so long that you were in survival mode. Everything you did was on autopilot. Wake up in the morning, take a shower, feed the kids, get them ready for school, take them to school, go to work, get off work, get some groceries, get your kids, get some groceries, come home, cook, make sure they take baths, put them in bed, go to sleep. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Rinse, wash, repeat, 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 repeat. And so you've lived your life. Hey, Sharima, you've lived your life on autopilot. And so because you've lived your life on autopilot, I guarantee you, some of you have talked to your children and they're telling you about different experiences and different things that you guys did as they were growing up. Some of you guys, thank you, Christopher Johnson. That's him. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. And that dude. Thank you so much, Christopher. I appreciate you. But some of you guys lived on autopilot where your children start telling you, or they're laughing, or they're telling you about things that you guys did or experienced, and some of you cannot remember it. Some of you guys were on autopilot to a point where you can't remember the details of the kid's childhood. You can't remember the details because you've been in survival mode all that time. And some of you deal with the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And let me talk. Okay, so the fight. Some of you guys live, remember the adrenaline is pumping. So you in survival mode, so that adrenaline is pumping. Some of you guys got big bellies. And some of you guys have big bellies, not because of the fact that now some of y'all like to eat. Some of y'all could cook, or y'all got good chefs around. And so you eat real well. So y'all don't be talking about, I just got a lot of adrenaline. No, you eat too much. So, but some of you guys have that big belly, and that big belly is that cortisol. You got all that cortisol pumping in your system. So you got that big pudgy belly. Some of you guys are not even, some of you guys look at yourself in the mirror and you think you're fat. Some of you guys are not actually fat. Some of you guys are actually swollen. There's a difference between a person being voluptuously juicy and being swollen. Have you ever seen people that are swollen? They're not even fat. It's swollen. It's like their whole body is swollen. And some people, they're not even big like that. They're swollen. I've seen some pictures of myself. I was shocked. I cannot believe I was swollen. My body was I was a big girl. Now, don't get me wrong. I was close to 300 pounds, but I wasn't just voluptuous. I was on swole. There's a difference. And then, but let's talk about the fight for a minute. Some of you got that cortisol pumping in your stomach. Some of you guys got issues with gastrointestinal problems. Courtney Nicole said I was. But some of you got that cortisol pumping. Some of you have fibroids. Some of the ladies got fibroids. And not only fibroids, you have very painful menaces. Very, very painful menaces. Fibroids. Some of you can't even get pregnant because of the fibroids. Some of you are dealing with like those neck issues and migraine headaches. And I know a lot of you guys maybe also from the water retention. And a lot of you also, may deal with a lot of those migraines and tension headaches, the tension headaches all up in here, but the migraine headaches, now you're sensitive to lights. Some of you guys are dealing with spinal cord issues where you're having nerve problems in your back, or the sciatic nerve issue. Every time you get, anxious, or every time you get triggered, you notice that the nerves in your back starts hurting, or your back goes out. Some of you guys, have you guys ever heard of convergence disorder? Conversion disorder. But what it is that there's so much stress that there's some people that became legally blind, or there's some people that actually became paraplegic or paralyzed from the waist down. Some of their hands, become paralyzed like this, and they cannot find anything neurologically wrong with them. They cannot find anything neurologically wrong with them. They go look at the optic nerves in the eye, and there's nothing wrong with the optic nerves in the eye. They look at the nerves in the spinal cord. There's nothing wrong with the spinal cord. There is no medical reason as to why they cannot walk. And usually there are some doctors that say this is a convergence disorder or somatic disorder, where you're starting to feel the pain in your body, and it's really stress related. It's a mental health issue. And a lot of people get upset when a doctor says this is a mental health disorder, because the thing is this is real. I'm feeling this. So you're telling me it's all in my head? I'm crazy now? No, sometimes they don't know how to word it correctly. Sometimes they don't know how to word it correctly, so it comes off as being very offensive, but it is a psychological issue that is manifesting physiologically. And so other things like there are people that hair loss. Some of you guys deal with hair loss. You're so stressed that you start dealing with hair loss. You start losing your hair prematurely. Some of you, and listen, the more stress that you're under, the leading cause of heart disease, strokes, heart attacks, stress. You're under so much stress living in a home or being with a narcissist. You're under so much stress that all of a sudden you got heart problems. You got heart issues. Now check this out. Let's talk about the hi Laura, hi Ron. Let's talk about the fight, flight, or freeze. Some of you guys are constantly in fight mode. You don't know how to shut it down because you're always fighting. All your life, you had to fight. Fight. You constantly fighting. I'm going to show you this is funny because I said this, I think I was saying this to my daughter about people that are always in fight mode. Now I'm gonna be loud for just a minute. So y'all hold on. Okay, I'm gonna be loud for a minute. You ever met those people where you're like, hey girl, how you doing? I'm fine. How you doing? Oh my God, give the baby a hug. Give me some sugar. Girl, I love you. Come here. All right now. Watch out. Come here. And I don't mean just from us folks being just happy go lucky and loud, because I'm loud. I laugh and joke with you loud. But people that are trying to be kind, but they just fight. They always sound like they fighting to say hello. Hello, how you doing? I'm doing good. How you doing? What's so good about the day? You like, oh my God, the veins in their head them pop, the neck them pop. They're always in fight mode. Everything is a fight, a fight. Somebody says something that triggers them, and all of a sudden they just in fight mode. They're always in fight mode. You can say good morning. What's so good about the morning? So what you saying? What you trying to say? And you're like, oh my God, this person needs anger management. People that have anger issues. See, there's one thing to have anger issues, and there's another to have rage. Anger can be controlled. You can deal with anger. Hey, Paula, you can deal with anger, and you can get anger under control. But when anger bleeds or becomes rage, rage becomes uncontrollable. When you get into rage, you start tearing stuff down. You're not able to control yourself. People have been unalived by people that fly into a rage. Sometimes their mind goes blank. Well, they don't even know that they've gone into a rage until after the fact, and they come back because they got rage issue. Rage is uncontrollable. Once you get from anger to rage, it becomes uncontrollable. So it's that fight. You're always in fight mode. Everything is a fight. Everybody, if you triggered, you fighting. I don't trust you. I'm fighting. Then you got fight, flight. Flight is when you try to escape from everything. You don't want to deal with the issue. I much rather run from the issue. I don't want to deal with the issue. I don't like drama. I don't like dramatic people. I don't like confrontation. So what happens is because of the fact, because there are people that are confrontational, that are in fight mode. There are people that are confrontational, and a lot of them that are confrontational are afraid. So they try to become confrontational to keep you away from them. So you may try to correct them. You may try to tell them they're wrong or they have done something, and then they try to scare you by getting into fight mode. And so many of you are like, I just don't like drama. I don't like confrontation. In life, you're going to have to confront things that are uncomfortable. Confrontation doesn't always mean you have to fight, meaning you have to fight. Confrontation sometimes means that you have to confront things that are very uncomfortable. Sometimes that is stress invoking for people that have been traumatized. So when you are invoked, and you are triggered, and your stress level goes up, some people just go into a place of what's the word I'm looking for? Go into a place of flight. They try to get away from the problem. They run away from the problem. I don't want to deal with it. I don't like confrontation. I just don't like messy people. I don't like people that I just try to get away from it. And a lot of times you guys are in businesses and jobs that require you, the more you get promoted, requires you to confront uncomfortable situations. I remember when I was in the military and I had became a leader. And the first thing that I had to deal with, that I had to confront, was someone that had a body odor. Someone had body odor, and these were my kids. These were my kids. And what happened is I had to confront the situation, and so it took me a long time because I was in flight mode. I didn't want to confront it. I didn't want to hurt her feelings. I didn't want her not to like me. I was going through all these emotions, and I started thinking to myself, well, what if it was me? What if it was me and no one said anything and they just picked on me, but no one ever was bold enough to say something to me to confront the issues? And so I approached her the way I want somebody to approach me, put myself in that situation and told her that it's okay. Of course it was embarrassing, but I took my time, and I had to, and I was nervous the whole time because I was afraid. I was afraid of the confrontation. I was afraid of hurting her feelings. I was afraid of being rejected, And so those are but because I was a leader, I was always in a position where I had to confront an uncomfortable situation, and they were quick to come get me, not realizing that I was going through my own PTSD. And I was learning how to, confront those uncomfortable things. I was learning how to confront those uncomfortable things, and some of those uncomfortable things required me to confront uncomfortable things in the position that I was in. And so that's that flight, that flight. So fight, flight, freeze. I'm gonna come to freeze in just a minute. Fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. Fawn. Some of you guys deal with the fawn. The fawn is I don't want no trouble, and I would just appease. I'll appease you. It's like appeasing the gods. I'm going to put a sacrifice at this altar so that you will not be mad at me. I'm going to appease you. I'm just going to make you feel good. I'm going to make you feel good. I'm going to appease you. I'm just going to calm you down so that you don't be mad at me. I'm going to calm you down so that, I'm just going to appease you. I'm just going to, whatever you want. Like them kids that have temper tantrum in the middle of the store, and the biggest mistake that parents make is positive and negative reinforcement. You positively reinforce bad behavior. Instead of you taking a stand for the kid, you tell them, go ahead and just give it to him so he'll be quiet. Give it to her so she'll stop all that hollering and crying. So you're appeasing the child so they'll give you what you want. And don't realize that the more you appease the kid, the bigger the temper tantrums will get as they age. Then what you're going to do when it's out of control. So now let's go to the freeze. Now, this is all the stuff that you're going through, and this is all the stuff that you're having to deal with while you are in a situation with this narcissist. The freeze. Let's talk about the freeze. Fight, flight, freeze, fawn. We already did all of them. Let's talk about freeze. Freeze. All these are automatic trauma responses because you have been traumatized. And some of you have been traumatized at a young age. And if you don't recognize what is happening, how can you confront it and change it? Because to confront it means you have to put yourself into an uncomfortable situation. You have to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation to bring yourself out of these type of responses. Freeze, freeze means that everything in the moment of stress, when you are faced with a stressful situation, or when you are faced with a trigger, when your anxiety goes up all of a sudden, and sometimes you don't even realize your anxiety went up. And some of you, the way you respond, and you don't even, it's really a reaction, but the way you respond is freeze, meaning that there's a situation that comes up, you know that you are skilled in this area, and you can't even respond. It's like all the answers that you had in your head are gone. It's like your mind goes blank. You're looking at the person. You know you're supposed to say something. You know that you do have answers, but nothing comes out. It's almost like a deer in the headlight look. I don't even know, because the pressure is so much. The anxiety, the stress level went up, and automatically everything shuts down. So everything shuts down to protect you. And it's not until after the person is gone, after the person is gone from the vicinity, all of a sudden it's like everything opens back up and all the answers start flooding. And then you're thinking like, dang, this is a delayed response. Have you ever seen like newscasters when they're on live and the person in the studio is asking them questions about the place that they're in, and they're asking the question, all of a sudden you see the delay. Hey, so what is the weather like out there in such and such? How's the snow flurries and stuff? And then all of a sudden you see this awkward pause. Yes, the weather over here is such and such, and they're talking. And if the other person talks too quick, the person is still talking. And then they stop talking. And then all of a sudden, the person starts talking again and trying to answer, but it's too much coming in at one time, because it's almost like a delayed response. Everything is there, but all of a sudden that trauma response is, I freeze. I don't know what to say. Where are the answers? I know they're in my head. I don't know what to do. I feel kind of dumb. I feel awkward. And it's not until the person is gone, you're like, I should have said this. I knew I should have said this. This is the correct answer. This is what I should be saying. That's that freeze response. And unless you recognize it is happening, there's nothing you can do about it, because it's an automatic response. And it's been going on for a long time until you finally put words to it. When you finally put words to it, you can finally start addressing it, because now you're going to start recognizing that you're doing it. And every time you recognize it happens, sometimes you have to think it through in your head and then come back and say, hey, you know what? Let me talk to you for a minute. Sometimes that opportunity is gone. So you have to wait. You have to wait. But sometimes that opportunity may come back around again. And some like, hey, you know what? I thought about this. Come here, let me talk to you for just a minute. Or, let me say this real quick. So sometimes, and when you feel it happening, that, sometimes you don't know that sometimes you have been in these situations for so long that your body and you have adjusted to the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And this is an automatic response to a point where someone finally brings it out or brings it to your attention, that now you can start as well. Some of you guys fight the information. Sometimes you fight the helper. And it's uncomfortable to have somebody tell you something that is uncomfortable. Of course, it's uncomfortable, but you have to trust the source. If you trust the person that's talking to you, whether it's a mentor, a counselor, a sister, a therapist, you have to trust that process. It's uncomfortable. And how do I stop it? The first thing you have to do is recognize that it's happening. Because if it happened right here, where are other areas that is happening? See, now you have some revelation. Now you have the aha, you have that epiphany. Now I realize that it's happening. Now I need to pay attention when it happens again. When it happens again, sometimes in the moment, you can say, hold on, let me think about that. You know what? I got an answer for that. Give me a minute. Let me process this for just a minute and then come back. And sometimes it does require you to answer right away. But once you start recognizing that it's happening, it's the little things. You may not get it every time. It's the little things that you start doing. And the more you do that, the more confidence you build. Now, all that to say this, hope is the last thing to go. Most people, when they go to therapy, they're not going to therapy to help themselves. They're going to therapy to figure out how to live in harmony with a narcissist because they cannot let go. A parent, because you love your parent and you just want that parent to love you, a sibling or a romantic relationship, situationship. A lot of times people are not coming to therapy for the point of learning and growing, because as you learn and as you grow, what happens is you will not accept all sorts of stuff. Like my sister said today, you will just not accept people talking to you any kind of way. You're not going to accept people just cussing you out, telling you about yourself, abusing you, putting their hands on you. Your tolerance level will get lower and lower to a point where you'll be able to say enough is enough. But when you are in these situationships, most people don't go to therapy for the purpose of learning and growing for themselves. How do I get out of this? How do I build my self-esteem? How do I build myself up? Let me watch these videos to build myself up, to prepare myself for a mass exodus. Most people come in because they want to know, what can I do to make that person love me? What can I do to make this person change? What must I say or what must I do to make them realize that I love them? What do I need to do to make them believe that I care? For some of you, is till death do us part. Really? Because for some people, that is it's not even a testimony. They're not here to tell you about it. Number two, is for better or worse. Okay, sometimes you can't be super religious. Some people, for better or worse, you can't be super religious. Or for better or worse, let's just put religion to the side. For better or worse, sometimes that's an excuse. Yeah, that sometimes that's an excuse. Well, it says for better or worse, and I'm gonna stick through it for what? You mean to tell me that you allow somebody to talk to you crazy in front of your kids? And you are setting your children up to be abused or be the abuser because of what they're watching you go through? Do you know that when you are abused at home, that your kids, it'll be times 20? It'll be 2.5, it was 5.0 or 2.5 or 2.0. What you go through, your kids will go through worse, or what you go through and what they witness, they'll go through with somebody, or they'll do it to somebody else. You know, some of that is learned behavior. Ladies, you sit in the house and you allow this man to talk to you any kind of way, to call you anything but the child of God, to tell you that you fat, you ugly, you sorry, you a terrible mother, you can't cook, I don't like you anyway, you done got too big, you sorry. All this, and your daughters are listening to this, and this is an example that you're setting for those daughters, and this is the type of man that they're going to draw. Gentlemen, because it also applies to men. You going to let that woman talk to you crazy? You have already been raised by a mother or a father, and you let this woman get in your face and be your mom and control you? Ain't no man gonna, you don't sit there and let no woman control you. You can't, you can't let a woman come in there. She's not your mama. You already had a mama. She's your spouse. She's your partner, but she's not your mama. She don't tell you what to do. In a relationship is give or take. Let's sit down and talk about some things, brother love. Well, that don't sound right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to use that term. I didn't mean to use that term. My bad, y'all. But let's talk, my sweetheart, my beloved. Let us talk. Now some of us are old school. We do believe in the man being the head of the household, but we got to be able to follow you somewhere. You got to be going somewhere. Just like my sister said today. How in the world am I gonna follow you? You don't know where you going. How am I gonna follow you? You have no vision for the family. You have no vision for the family. You have no vision for some of you have already made family. You have no vision for the family. You have no vision. You talk crazy, and you want me to expose my kids to this nonsense, brothers, and then you got women talking to you crazy. So your sons go out here and meet some crazy woman that may take it further than just popping off at the mouth or putting your hands on a man. If a woman got to put her hands on a man, you need to leave. Ain't no nookie that good for you to stay. I don't care what it is. Ain't no nookie that good to stay. So men, you don't need a woman to be your mother. And women, we don't need a man to rule over us, meaning that they got total control where we have no say in the relationship whatsoever. You know what I mean? So you have to remember, what is it that you're presenting in your household? Some people have stayed 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, and you wonder why. Listen to this. When you get out of this situationship, and the stress level starts going down, and your body begins to normalize, and your body begins to normalize, the stress starts coming down, your body starts normalizing again. Some of you all of a sudden find out you got high blood pressure, you got high cholesterol, what is it, hypertension, diabetes, neurological problems, migraines. Some of your minds don't even work the same. It's like you got a glitch in your thought process. You can't think because it's that brain fog. It's like you got a glitch in your mind. It's like you think, but you can't. It's like it's almost like it doesn't catch. I'm trying to think, but it doesn't catch. It seems like everything that I try to do, it doesn't catch. It's not catching. To be I saw another influencer, they put down that narcissist abuse is one of the leading causes of health issues. And if you stay in this situation, if you make a choice to stay, don't go to no therapist asking to help you to live a healthy, mentally free, mentally sane, healthy relationship. It's not going to happen. And the older they get, the worse they get. The longer you stay, the sicker you're going to get. The longer you stay, the more you lose yourself. Don't ask how to stay in this relationship and for it to be healthy. It's not going to happen. The older they get, the longer you stay, the worse they get, to a point where you are now in this learned helplessness. Nothing ever right happens for me. Nothing good, anything good that has ever happened, it doesn't last forever. And some of you guys are thinking to yourself, but I know how she was when I met her. I know what he was like when I met. It's like the dope man. And they will give you a free hit. They give you a free hit. There's for some chemicals. The first time you try it, you addicted immediately. And you running after that first hit, right? You running after that first euphoric feeling. And some of us who are also cigarette smokers, I smoked for almost 20 years. You looking for that first high. That first high come in the morning after you'd have fasted all night because you ain't smoked nothing. And in the morning you smoke a cigarette, you get that contact, but it's minimal, very minimal. And all day long you trying to, and so the same thing with a narcissist. They present themselves one way because they got to trauma bond you. And then all that time you keep running after, I know what they were like when I met them. Whenever things go bad, I know that they work so hard. When it's good, it's good. And when it's bad, it's bad. It's always bad. Ain't no such thing as a little strychnine in the water and I ain't going to die. You got a little poison in the water. Guess what's going to happen to you? You going to die. You going to unalive. So the same thing with a narcissist. Ain't no way. There's no such thing as, when it's good, it's good. And when it's bad, it's bad. No, when it's good is yeah, you got to have something to bait a person in. How, okay, ladies, gentlemen, how an ugly woman or an ugly man that you have no attraction to whatsoever gonna bait you in? They got to have something to pull you in. Charm, personality. Some of y'all like, it don't even matter about the aesthetics as long as they got a great heart. You a lie. You got to have something. What, the left eye look good, you know, the teeth look all right, or if the teeth don't look all right, at least both of their eyes look good. They got both of their eyes. They have both of their feet, you know. Well, they got dentures, you know, the dentures look good when they got the dentures in, you know, something. There's got to be something to bait you in. But once they bait you in and you're in long enough, you notice that Hoover, even when you're married, you still get hoovered. You get discarded, and then you get hoovered back in. And they give you what you're asking for: attention, affection, sex, time, you know, whatever your love language is, that's what they'll give you. But guess what happens? Guess what? Hey, it ain't that blind. It ain't that blind, Linda. But whatever it is, that's how they're gonna pull you back in every time. And even some of you guys that are in the situationship, you get hoovered in the relationship, in the situationship as well. Yeah, you get hoovered in the situationship as well. But the one thing you're always looking for is the initial, but I know what it used to be like. It was so good. And I know that they can change. I know that you're making excuse, you're justifying their behavior. They're going through something. You know, they're going through something. And I understand, because I done been through something before, because I told you that. I done been through something before, and I understand all couples go through something. And I know, you know, but I know what they're like. I know what they're like. Get out. If you have, this is a disclaimer, if you got children, you can't just jump up and leave, because if you jump up and leave with your children, they can get you for kidnapping charges. It is better because they've isolated you to make you believe that no one believes you, no one's going to listen to you, you don't have any friends. But what happens is, if you get in contact with a domestic violence advocate, they do paperwork. There's a paper trail that will assist you in getting out of your situation. Some of you have to swallow your pride. Some of you have lived nice, beautiful homes, beautiful cars, beautiful clothes, but that's not worth your sanity. Some people have had psychiatric emergencies, psychosis, not just psychosis, psychotic episodes where their mind split. Some of them have gone into a catatonic stage. Some of them ended up on the psychiatric ward and have not snapped out of it yet, because their mind could not handle the pressure, you know, the pressure of what they were going through. So to stay in a situationship like that, there is no answer to what can I do to have a good mental health? What can I do to be able to live and maintain my mental health? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen at all. Yeah, it's not going to happen. So that's all I had to say about that. You know, I want you guys to understand, narcissistic personality disorder is a thing. And yes, it is a mental health disorder. It is a mental illness. It is a personality disorder. And as a personality disorder, it's non-changeable. A personality disorder, you cannot change a personality disorder. It is a permanent character flaw. And these individuals, you know, a lot of people, you see them come on and they're harmless. They're not going to do any harm. You know, right now, a lot of narcissists, self-diagnosed narcissists, actual diagnosed narcissists, what's the best way to pull people in? By playing on your empathy and playing on your sympathy, especially on a social media platform, because most of you, hope is the last thing to go. And for some people that are grabbing, it's like being in a water and grabbing anything that floats to try to stay above. I can't believe that this person really doesn't love me. I can't believe, because I know what I felt. Feelings are just that, a feeling. I know what I felt. I know what I've been through with them. I know we built a home. We've got kids. There's just no way you could tell me that this person doesn't love me and my children. There's just no way, you know, and that's the most heartbreaking thing that you can go through, to realize that a person does not have the capacity to love like you do. They do not have the capacity to love, especially when it's dealing with your children. They don't have the capacity to love like we do. And they don't get better, they get worse. There is no treatment that changes narcissistic personality disorder. They'll tell you, I'm trying to get better, I'm trying to get help, I don't want to be like this, I'm trying to understand what I'm going through. It's a lie. They could care less. It's all about themselves. But it's all about themselves. But guess what it's playing on? It's playing on your empathy. It's playing on your emotions. I want you guys to remember that. Hope is the last thing to go. Exactly. Hope is the last thing to go, because we always have hope that someone will get better. You always have hope that you can do better. And for some people, like people that have been chemically dependent, drug and alcohol dependent, and they've been through like rehab and things like that, sometimes people hold on to hope because they make it through. But there are some things like a narcissist. It doesn't matter what they say to you. It won't change. They won't change. They get worse. And if a person is mistreating you, you got to understand your value. You got to put value on yourself. You don't wait for someone to assign you value. You put value on yourself. And then you make people respect the value that you have on yourself. You make them respect you. And if they don't have any respect for you, cut them off. If you got kids, get you a domestic violence advocate, because you can't just jump up and leave with those kids. Make sure you got it on paper. Make sure you get legal involved with that. Remember that, because they can take you to court and say that you kidnapped their children. No, narcissism can be cured, but narcissistic personality cannot be cured. Narcissism is just an adjective of behaviors. So you can have narcissistic behavior. Narcissism is an adjective to describe behavior, and not narcissism can be cured, because narcissism is an adjective of behavior. Narcissism is just describing behavior, because some people have narcissistic behavior. That does not mean that they have narcissistic personality disorder. The disorder cannot be cured, but narcissism, sometimes people are selfish, self-centered, they're young, they're out there sowing their seeds, they're not ready. Sometimes, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to hear this, because y'all gonna be mad at me. So if you got to get off the program as soon as I say this, then you get off the program. Sometimes they don't want you. Yeah, sometimes they don't want you. Sometimes you are not the person for them. They don't want you. You see what I mean? They don't want you. You are not the person that they want, and they're not going to change for you. And some of those people are not narcissists. Some of them people are actually normal people that have narcissist traits. They have traits. That's it. They have traits. And traits just mean that you're immature, you're self-centered, you're all about yourself. You still got to grow. Some people need the experience. And hey, the teenagers are like that. Those that are in the sports, young girls, competition, very narcissistic, but that doesn't mean they have the disorder. But the disorder cannot be cured. The disorder cannot be cured. There's no cure for the disorder. Well, that's all I have to say about that, y'all. That's all I got to say about that. That's all I got to say about that. But I appreciate you all being here. Yeah, you can untie a soul tie, of course. Absolutely. But thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate all of you for tuning in. I hope you tune in during the week. I am going to see if some of you guys have been asking for my daughter to come back on. And so I know next week she should be available. Some of you guys want to see me and her have conversations, and me and her normally have really great conversations live. And so I'm going to try to get her on live. And what I'll do is I'm probably going to do it from Zoom and then broadcast from Zoom onto Facebook and YouTube. And so I'll come on to Facebook and YouTube. But I know some of you guys enjoyed the conversation her and I were having concerning the experience with narcissist. And she is willing to talk about her experience. She has a child by a young man who is a narcissist. And so, of course, she wants to, but she's willing to come and have a conversation about that, because she had to learn a lot. And she actually says she learned a lot, just by listening to these videos and listen to me talk. And, the conferences, whenever we do these conferences, she says she's always learning. She's listening to the conferences, she's learning herself. And so it's a good thing, mothers, fathers, those of you whose kids are having to deal with a narcissist, or have, a parent that's a narcissist, if they're willing to, don't force feed them. Don't shove it down their throat. Because if you shove it down their throat, they're not, They don't want to hear that, you know. But trust you me, when they're listening and that you playing the videos, you don't force them, you know, listen to the videos. Believe you me, they pick up on certain things and they start having those aha moments as well. You know, the familiar thing is you. So of course, you know, when you say something, you know, you don't know what you're talking about. It don't, you can, like Bishop Jake says, you can have more degrees than a thermometer, but you know, with my kids, I'm just ma, you know, so it don't matter whether I'm a doctor or not, I'm ma, you know, and that's coming from her. But then when you hear somebody else say the exact same thing that you said, then they'll believe you. You see what I mean? So sometimes listening to the videos, they're listening. You'd be surprised, they're listening. So, well, I appreciate everybody being here. I got some mommy duties. I got to go and do some mom duties. Hey, Jesus, girl Betty, how are you? But I got some mom duties I'm on real quick. Hey, Dawn, how are you? Hey, is it Dewana Wisdom? Hopefully I got that right. How are you doing? Boa Wolf? Hopefully I got that right. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great night. Thank you, Kay, for being here. I know that you are a busy lady. I think you work in the you're a dispatcher, right? You're a dispatcher, or are you a 911 dispatcher? Are you the 911 dispatcher? Because we need you. We need you on your post. God bless you too, Moose Girl. Thank you so much. Thank you, Charles, for being here. Thank you, Navajo Nation, Arizona. Okay, Sarah. Go, girl. Okay. Oh yeah, we need you on your post, girl. I need you to go get some rest so you can be on your post because we need you. You are so welcome. You are so welcome. All right, Sarah, we see you, girl. We got Navajo Nation, Arizona. That's what I'm talking about, girl. Thank you for being here. Night night to you too. You rest. I'm not gonna talk about anything really important when you go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go rest. But thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate you guys coming to join me. Make sure you share the video. You know, you would be surprised. You'll be surprised. I said this before. When you guys post videos, sometimes they look at the title and they won't let you know. They will not let you know that they're actually listening. And you will be surprised at how many of your family members are actually listening to these videos. They're not going to say anything to you. And then one day they'll possibly say something to you, but you will be surprised. There's some people that I didn't even know were listening to my videos until years later. You know, until years later, they said something to me like, I've been watching your videos for a long time. I didn't even know. Thank God they were listening because a lot of them got out. Yeah, a lot of them got out. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Williams. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. You guys get you some rest. I'll be back throughout the week to talk to you. You guys take care of yourself. I love you guys. And you guys have a wonderful evening. You are so welcome. You guys have a wonderful evening. Good night, Instagram. I was about to say Instacart. Good night, Instagram. Let me make sure I put make sure I put my little title on here and things. You guys go have a wonderful evening. I think this is my Facebook page. You guys have a wonderful evening. Hey, ladies, if you are on my Facebook page, I am Overcoming Narcissist Abuse on my Facebook page. I also have a private page for the ladies. And that private page is women, let me see, recovery. I think it's women recovering from narcissist abuse and volatile relationship. And in that, it's a private Facebook page. If you ask me questions, I actually do a video to answer your question. I'm a little behind. And also, if you are an entrepreneur, if ladies, are you business owners, if you are entrepreneurs, if you have a website, if you're selling something, you know, you give me the information and then you send me a picture. If you say you inbox me, send me a picture of yourself, send me a picture of your products, your page or whatever, and I make a flyer, and then you become the entrepreneur of the week, because I like to make sure that we put your business out there. I also have things posted like career places you can find careers, places you can find scholarships, because there are scholarships out there for women who have been through domestic violence. There are career fields, like if you want to go into government jobs, if you want to go into contracting jobs, if you want to start your own business, you know, all that. I have posted on this private page, and it's women recovering from narcissist abuse and volatile relationship. Make sure that when you request to come on there, you fill out all the questions and make sure you have a picture of yourself. Now, if you just created that profile within the last few months, we're probably not going to let you in. You got to have at least have your Facebook page within the last year, and you got to have a picture so we can see who you are. Because we don't let nobody infiltrate our pages. We talk about some very delicate things, some very sensitive things in there. And so make sure you go and request to be a part of that page. And my moderators and my page administrators will review it and they'll let you in. And thank you so much, Just Be Real, for always being here. I hope, yes, this one right, yes, this is the page dedicated to people going through narcissist abuse. But thank you so much. I appreciate that, Doc Harris. I appreciate you guys being there. And I do it for the ladies because I'm a woman myself. And I've been there. I've done that. And so I try to help out the women. And sometimes we have intimate conversations as women. So men, I'm not purposely leaving you out. But sometimes I have very intimate conversations with the women that women understand. And sometimes women are afraid to say things around men. And so I just dedicated that page particularly for women. And so I appreciate you guys being here. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you, Mr. Charles, for the stars. Hey, you guys send me some stars. You guys can go ahead and support my page. You can support my page. You can send me Cash App. You can send me PayPal. You can send me stars. And I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Good night, everybody. Good night to my YouTube family. You guys have a wonderful evening. Good night, everybody.